You know what? That was refreshing. Refreshing? That was nice. Something new. Losing to the Panthers is not new. Yeah, but they did it in the regular season this time. Less stressful. Let's go! Good. We all feel good. Stop! Never gets rusty!
What am I doing?
Into my kitchen! Producer Drew, can you fix all this? And when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can crumple, yeet! Saw that going differently. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Leafs lose. 3-1 question mark. That was an empty netter with 0.1 seconds left. That shouldn't even count. Who even scored it? I gotta look up who scored it. Sam Reinhart. All right, Sam Reinhart got it. Well, I hope on his next contract, he's like, I scored 50 goals this year, and the Panthers are like, 49. Listen, listen, I'm madder than I thought. I'm madder than I thought. And you know, it's funny, I'm not actually, but before you think this is a repeat of what happened last year when the Leafs lost to the Ducks, and I got really upset, justifiably so, very early in the season, I'm not actually gonna get that mad at their overall performance. Nothing has changed, in my opinion, about this team from last game, other than this was a better effort. Defense is still pretty poo. It's pretty poo. Like, dude, we can talk about the goals quick. You want to talk about the goals quick and we'll talk about what else is on my mind? Sure. Okay, let's do that. Can I show you, I think, the worst thing I've ever seen on an ice surface? What is this? What? Why? There's 5 of you and 3 of them! No! The formation itself is bad. Ryan Reeves trying to direct traffic there in the high slot, but Klingberg! Why? Outnumbering the Panthers with 0 pressure on you, he just yeets the puck up the boards. He just yeets the thing. And then Kevin Stenlund, who I think has been an underrated player for a while. I was surprised the Kraken didn't get a hold of him at the expansion draft. He was my guy that I thought was going to be going there. He rips the thing, but the whole reason he got the puck is because the Leafs, while outnumbering the Panthers, still lose the puck battle, or rather they win it, and Klingberg just friggin' throws it to nobody on the back. How old do you need to be before you're like, maybe he's not gonna learn to shoulder check? Maybe that's just, he just kind of yeets it. Sometimes it's just the yeet habit. So the Panthers are up 1-0. Stenlund's first as a Panther. And hey, did someone else want their first as a Panther? Come on down! I keep talking about how the front of the Leafs net, the Leafs are horrible defensively. The only spot where they might be worse is the point. And this goal is a great picture of that. Once again, 2 Leafs behind the net going after 2 Panthers. That's fine. Liljegren is on the opposite post. He's inching away! He's inching away! Again, if you had like any awareness of what was going on around you, you got support in front of the net, you're outnumbering them. What's not to like about the situation? And once the puck gets to the point, onto Oliver Ekman-Larsson's stick, in case you were wondering where he's playing these days. Look at this Serie defense from Tyler Bertuzzi. In 100 meters, your destination is on the... Come on! Not even close. I think there was a deflection in there. Ilya Samsonov has probably his best game of the season. That would be everything that the Leafs would allow. They lose, though. They lose. Mitch Marner did get a power play goal. That was nice, because I thought he struggled in the first period, man. He wasn't able to connect passes. He looked lost out there. One of the guys out there for that second Panthers goal again. So it was nice to see him bang in a power play goal. Early season Mitch Marner tends to not shoot the puck enough, and that wasn't really a shot. It was a tap in on a power play, but shoot it more, Mitch. You're good at it. But a few things really frustrated me. Number 1 is coming out of this game, people looked at the shots. The Leafs outshot the Panthers. They had a higher XGF, higher expected goals. They outchanced the Panthers. And I'm like, yeah, after the bad start. Also, that's just how the Panthers win games. Where were you in the spring? I thought you watched them in the spring. Panthers won like 3 series that way. And we kept going, it's gonna catch up to them. Then they lose in the Stanley Cup final, like, see? No, when they win 3/4 of the series they're trying to win, it doesn't count. So, some positives coming out of that game. They still fall to 2-2, and they only have 1 regulation win because that first one was in the shootout. Now, a few things in terms of ice time. Number 1, Fraser Minton under 9 minutes. I think that experiment is quickly coming to an end. Tyler Bertuzzi under 15 minutes and briefly relegated from the first line. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But what do I want to talk about? What was the thing that made me the most upset out of this game? What do you think it was? What do you think? Officiating? You think it's officiating? I think I heard officiating at the back of the class. You're right. I hate that we would even go there, especially against the Florida Panthers. Officiating? It's a Paul Maurice team. Yeah! They try to out-dirty you. They try to outwork you. They try to out-muscle you. That's what they do. But whatever happened to that not being a problem anymore? Not on the official side. I'm done. I'm so done asking for any... What, they're going to change how they call the sport overnight? Stop! Stop asking for that thing that is never, ever, ever going to happen. Start following your more realistic dreams of being an astronaut in space than asking for that. What I am upset about is we talked about toughness and team toughness and Tyler Bertuzzi toughness and Max Domi toughness, his dad's toughness up in the press box toughness, and Ryan Reaves toughness. Woo! Woo! I am so sick of hearing about this, and let me tell you, through the first couple games, it was funny. It was funny. He fights Arbor Jacki, and he didn't initiate that fight, and that was fine. And then who did he fight in the second game? Marcus Foligno. He fought after a big hit, and he had a big impact on the game, and he turned the tide. Third game, he gets into a chirping fest with Corey Perry. I thought that whole thing was overrated, whatever. In this game, the Florida Panthers run William Nylander from behind, and whether it was a penalty or not, refs called it no penalty, he was hurt. William Nylander was down and hurt. He stayed in the game, but he was hurt. Now, you can call this barbaric. You can rightly or wrongly deem what I'm talking about here. But this is how the sport has always worked. Whether the ref calls a penalty on that or not, someone's got to answer the bell. Who's it going to be? It's either the guy who laid the hit. Kulikov would be a good candidate because he laid the hit and also he's pretty big. Or someone is going to fight on his behalf, and you're going to have to fight the biggest, ugliest, toughest guy on the Leafs. That is how it has always, always, always worked in hockey. Nothing! No one said a thing! Nary a face wash, a slash, a roughing penalty, a fight, nothing. And it's not just Reaves. It's not just Reaves, because I wouldn't expect Dmitry Kulikov to have to fight Ryan Reaves. Max Domi, Noah Gregory, anybody! That, to me, said there are 78 games left. There is a lot of last year's Leafs, 2 years ago's Leafs, the last decade of Leafs hockey in this team. And before the Leafs beat it out of their opponents, they have to beat it out of themselves, because that was pathetic. And when you're not doing those things, when you're Ryan Reaves and you're not doing those things, because listen, you're not going to have something to do in this department every night. But when you're Ryan Reaves and you are not doing these things, and you're a -1, and you've played under 7 minutes, and you got 2 hits, thanks, and you put your team shorthanded when they were already losing, what is it you would say you do here? And just so he's not on an island, Max Domi had 56 points last year in 80 games. When? How? In what situation? What occurred to help that occur? 13 points in 19 He played 19 playoff games last year, 2023, and he had 13 points. Huh? That team didn't win the cup? How? That's impossible. You know what? I think I'd be less mad about this if Ryan Reaves wasn't talking about the Radko Gudas thing at a golf tournament this summer. Like, oh yeah, if you were around what? He's not on the Panthers anymore. They're still messing with your guys. A watered down version of the Florida Panthers. They're hurt. They're hurt right now. Are messing with your guys. You didn't do anything? Give back your paycheck. What? Everyone give back your pay. The new look, tougher league. Where? Who on this disgusting roster? Steve, are you suggesting that the Leafs should have taken like an instigator penalty and put themselves shorthanded? Yes. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm suggesting. There's 82 games. This is game number 4. And you just laid bare for everybody. Nope. Don't worry, everyone. Still a bunch of easy points against the blue and white. Don't worry about it. Win or lose, you won't leave with a scratch on you. Don't worry about it. Same old Leafs. And again, I'm not talking about the sky is falling or this team is bad. A tweak here, a tweak there. It's the coaching staff's job. They've had a bunch of turnover on the roster, bunch of turnover on the coaching staff. I get it. The Leafs are going to win games. They're going to make the playoffs. Everything's going to be fine. But this department was pathetic tonight. Brutal. Now, how might this roster change? Well, believe it or not, there's someone who's going to be helping me with LFR videos this year to talk about that. Nick Barden has joined LFR team and SDPN Sports. He goes to all the Marlies games, and he's been watching the Toronto Marlies, who began their season in the American Hockey League recently, and he's going to talk to us about a couple players who might be on the Leafs roster in pretty short order. Pontus Holmberg and Nick Robertson. Robertson especially was in the news recently. Take it away, Nick. Oh, and we're calling the segment Marley Minutes. Real ones know.
If there's anyone that should get a call-up, it's between two players. And the first is Pontus Holmberg. He's had 2 points in the first 2 games with the Toronto Marlies. He's looked really good. And at center, the Maple Leafs could use him in a number of ways. He's great on the power play, great on the penalty kill, and even great at 5-on-5. He's defensively responsible, which would be of need for the Maple Leafs in the future if they lose someone. And he's also good at the end of the rink as well. Now, Holmberg was absent from Marlies practice on Thursday, and there wasn't an update from Marlies head coach John Gruden because he did not speak with the media. And the other guy, of course, is Nick Robertson, who has 5 points, 2 of those being goals in the first 2 games of the season. He looks really good. His shot is clicking. His skating has improved. If you remember back to training camp, Robertson did say that he was working on his skating and his posture throughout the summertime, and it's looked to have paid off dividends so far. His skating, again, he looks a step faster as well when he's cutting along the boards. He's doing it really well, especially on the power play, cutting and making these tight turns, beating players and coming in for a scoring chance. Maybe Robertson is the first guy to get the call up, because in Elliot Friedman's 32 Thoughts, he does say that you could see a situation where if he doesn't get called up for a while, that he could be looking for a fresh start. So again, it could be him getting the call up first. It could be Holmberg, but those 2 guys have looked really impressive throughout the first 2 games for the Marlies.
Okay, I think that's really interesting, because we saw in this game, Fraser Minten went down to the 4th line. I don't think it serves him or anyone to have him down there, even though I didn't think he had the worst game against Florida. Kampf goes up to the 3rd line. He can do it. For the amount of money he makes, he probably should be doing it. In terms of skill level, should he be doing it? Probably not. No. So you're going to need someone else there. I think we're all assuming Pontus Holmberg is just going to slot in for Fraser Minten. Minten is going to go back to junior. You call up Pontus Holmberg, you put him there on the roster, and that's that. I don't think that's going to happen. Or here's what I think could happen that might be better. Max Domi has had some success at center. He hasn't had success on the wing on this team. It's only been 4 games, but oof. Like, he's barely... It's one thing if you're not putting up points. He's barely even looked useful. So here's an idea. The top 6, we basically know who's in the top 6, give or take. Like, Järnkrok might have a shift here or there. But I think the 3rd line is going to be Max Domi in the middle, Calle Järnkrok on the right, and Nick Robertson on the left. Robertson is ready. I don't believe any of this fresh start stuff. He's young and he's doing well in the AHL. That's how prospect development is supposed to work. But if he's ready and the team is struggling a little bit, why not have him up on the big team, have him up on the 3rd line, give him some secondary power play time. You could even switch him on the wings, have Järnkrok on the left, Robertson on the right. He can do both. He can kill penalties as well. I think this might be Robertson's time instead of Holmberg's. Questions? I wondered if this was coming. Noah, I apologize in advance. This isn't directly at you. I'm sure you're a lovely person. But Noah says, feel obligated to ask this on behalf of the Panthers fan base. Do you still want Florida? You know, this is why it sucks being a Leaf fan. It really does. Because they just get humiliated at every turn. They said, we want Florida. in Maple Leaf Square, and they chanted it, and the Panthers went, ooh, and then people went, hey, no, look, there's video of them going, we want Boston as well, and everyone just sort of went, no, it's funnier if we ignore that exists, ooh, and they got mad about it, and then the Panthers beat the Leafs, and they went, ha, remember you said we want Florida and nobody else, and we went, no, we didn't actually say that, and you went, ha, but then the Leafs lose anyway, so you can't even shut those people up. All you can do is be the losers forever. You gotta sit there and be the losers who lost to the Panthers as they hang their "We Almost Won" banner that they're gonna have forever. Their second "We Almost Won" banner in franchise history. And they look at it and they remember how they almost won and just how emotional it made them that they almost won. By the way, I know I sound salty because the Panthers beat the Leafs in the second round, but it doesn't matter. Winning a conference doesn't matter. Oh, Steve, you're just being salty. Yeah? Have you ever in your entire life had a conversation over who was better than who or who deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, stuff like that? Yeah? You have? Of course you have. You're a hockey fan. Have you ever brought up, well, at least they made it to the Final Four? No, you haven't! Because that doesn't matter! People barely remember that you're a finalist. You won a conference? Who cares? Steve, you don't think it's impressive? Winning the championship would be more impressive. Well, they won the conference. No. The President's Trophy isn't a thing, okay? Panthers fans know that. The conference, what's it even called? I don't even know. I know there's the Prince of Wales and the Clarence Campbell, and I don't remember which is for what. Honest to goodness, do not know, don't care either. Imagine how much fun is going to be made of the Leafs if they were to win the Eastern Conference but lose in the Stanley Cup Final and they raise their banner. Right? It's different with the Panthers because people are like, oh, salty? Maybe, but sometimes the truth is salty, all right? I see producer Drew nodding in the background. I'm sure, like, when the Avalanche were heading to the Stanley Cup Final, he was celebrating the Western Conference Final banner like, no, this is enough. No need to play any more games, boys. I'm satisfied. Memory that'll last a lifetime. Shut up! Anyway, well, bet I made a bunch of people mad. Only took 4 games this time. It was a little less than last year. That's cool. Well, what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. And what would you do? Holmberg, Robertson, or someone else? Let me know in the comment box down below. But that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends that I am raising money for Easter Seals Ontario. Once again, it's a charity that helps out kids with physical disabilities. Link in the comment box down below. I'm sweating.